This happened back in 2019. My old friend Jake called me out of nowhere one evening. We hadn't talked much since college, so I was surprised. Turns out, he was getting married in January and wanted to reunite our middle school friends at a remote cabin in the mountains. No distractions, no noise. Just us, reconnecting before his big day. It sounded perfect. Life had pulled us all apart, and this felt like a chance to relive the old days. Jake booked the cabin for a weekend in late December. We packed into 2 cars and drove up. The place was bigger than expected. Old, creaky wooden steps leading to a wide porch, everything buried in snow. The nearest town was an hour away, and our phones lost signal as soon as we turned onto the dirt road. But that was the point, right? No distractions. The first night was fun. We unloaded our stuff, grilled steaks, and swapped stories about stupid pranks we'd pulled in school. By midnight, we crashed. 5 guys in a 3-bedroom cabin. Cozy, but too quiet. On the second night, I woke up to Marcus shaking me. He looked pale, whispering that he'd seen a shadowy figure near the trees, staring at the cabin. He thought it was a hiker or hunter, but the way it just, stood there freaked him out. I was half asleep and told him to relax. We'd check it out in the morning. The next day, we found weird footprints circling the cabin. They were spaced oddly, like someone barefoot had walked around us. We joked it was an animal or a prank, but Marcus stayed tense. Later, while hiking, Marcus froze. A man in a heavy coat stood yards away, holding a rifle. He smiled, a cold, unsettling grin. Marcus swore it was the same person from the night before. That evening, Marcus sat by the window, staring into the dark. We tried lightening the mood, but he snapped, telling us about the man. We laughed it off. Until 2 a.m., when we heard soft footsteps on the porch. No one answered when we shouted. We brushed it off as an animal, but the air felt heavier after that. The next morning, a few guys went hunting. Marcus kept scanning the trees, but we found nothing. That night, a snowstorm hit. We were cooking when someone knocked. A low voice pleaded, "Help me, I'm stuck." We hesitated, then opened the door. It was him, the same man, half frozen. We let him warm up. Hours later, the storm eased and he left. But 10 minutes later, knocking again. My stomach dropped. We opened the door, and there he stood, gun pointed at us. Jake lunged, and chaos erupted. We wrestled the gun away and called the cops. The police arrived, arrested him, and said, "It's better you don't know." We never learned who he was or why he targeted us. Jake's wedding happened a month later, and we never spoke about it again. But sometimes, I still see his smile in my head. The footprints, the question we'll never answer. The hidden basement. A few years back, I rented a cabin for peace and quiet. Tall pines, no noise, perfect. The first 2 days were great. Hiking, reading, cozy nights by the fire. On day 3, I hiked deeper into the woods. When I returned, I heard footsteps. inside the cabin. I searched everywhere. Nothing. Maybe the old floors creaked? I tried to forget it. The next afternoon, I heard the front door creak open. Voices. 2 or 3 people whispering. I locked myself in my bedroom until the sounds faded. The door was still locked, windows shut. No one was there, until I spotted fresh footprints in the snow, shallow, like bare feet. I followed them and saw 3 hooded figures vanish into the trees. That night, I found a hidden basement under a rug. A mattress, food wrappers, old clothes. Someone had been living there. At midnight, shuffling noises came from below. I called the cops. They found a hidden exit and fresh footprints leading away. No evidence, but the officers warned me to leave. I drove home, wondering if those figures watched me through the floorboards. Were they waiting for the right moment? I'll never know. But sometimes, I still feel their eyes. The wrong cabin. In 2015, my workaholic husband Adrian agreed to a mountain getaway. The Airbnb photos showed a cozy modern cabin, but when we arrived, it was run down. Peeling paint, sagging porch, and a mildew stench. The inside felt abandoned. Old furniture, damp walls. Adrian, ever efficient, shrugged it off. That night, we got a text from the host. "You never arrived. Are you coming?" Our blood went cold. We were in the wrong place. At dawn, we packed to leave. Outside, I noticed pried open boards near the foundation and recent footprints. We sped off. Later, the host messaged again, but we never replied. Who owned that cabin? Had someone been watching us? We'll never know. But sometimes, I wonder what or who was in those woods. Like this story. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the for more chilling tales. Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay safe out there.